You hear people all the time saying that people are Judas, meaning they are a betrayer based on erroneous, wrong scriptures, the wrong teachings, the subverted teachings of Jesus Christ, not Emmanuel. And we'll explain the story of Judas Iscariot, so maybe you won't refer to him as a betrayer. He was in fact one of Jesus's or Emmanuel's most trusted companions and his personal scribe. What really went on with Judas Iscariot? And it goes on to say, it came to pass that Emmanuel and his disciples went to Bethlehem, where he taught and instructed people. However, Judas Iscariot had become disloyal to the teachings of Emmanuel and lived only for his own gratification. Secretly, he was collecting from Emmanuel's audiences, accumulating gold, silver, and copper in his money bag so he could live vainly. And it happened that Judah Iscariot, notice the name difference, the son of Simeon the Pharisee, Judah Iscariot, very similar to Judas Iscariot. Judah Iscariot informed Jesus, Emmanuel, of Judas Iscariot's wrongdoing, since he had hoped to be paid off for this. But Emmanuel thanked him and did not repay him with any gifts whatsoever. So Judah Iscariot thought of revenge, for he was greedy for gold, silver, and goods. But Judas Iscariot was led into the desert by Emmanuel, where for 3 days and 3 nights he taught him the concept of right and wrong, whereupon the disciple repented and forthwith followed the teachings of Emmanuel. When he returned to the city, he contributed all of his possessions and collections among the poor and became a trusted disciple of Emmanuel. However, at the time it transpired that the writings in which Judas Iscariot had reported on the teachings of Emmanuel were stolen from him. So he told Emmanuel about it. But he spoke. Emmanuel spoke. Truly, truly, I say to you, Judas Iscariot, you will have to suffer even greater evils than the mere loss of your writings about my teachings and my life. For over 2,000 years you will be wrongly accused of betraying me, because Simeon the Pharisee wants it so. But his son, Judah Iscariot, is the real culprit. Like his father Simeon Iscariot, he is a Pharisee who seeks my life. It is he who stole the writings from you and brought them to the scribes and Pharisees, so they could thereby judge me and put me to death. He received 70 pieces of silver for your writings, and will receive another 30 when he makes it possible to hand me over to the executors. Truly I say to you, he will certainly succeed in this, and for 2 times 1,000 years you will innocently have to pay the penalty for it. Consequently, you will become a martyr. But write down my teachings and my life story for another time, for the time will come in 2 times 1,000 years when your writings will be revealed. Until then, my teachings will be falsified and turned into an evil coat, which will cause much human blood to flow. Because the people are still not prepared to comprehend my teachings and to recognize the truth. Not until 2 times 1,000 years, and here we go with the very specific predictions. Not until 2 times 1,000 years will an unassuming man come who will recognize my teachings as truth and disseminate them with great courage. He will be vilified by the established cult religions and advocates of the false teachings about me, and be considered a liar. But you, Judas Iscariot, until then be innocently reviled as my betrayer, and thus be condemned as a result of the deceitfulness of the chief priests and the ignorance of the people. But pay no attention to this, for the teachings of the truth demand sacrifices that must be made, The people are still not very great in their spirit, consciousness, and knowledge. Therefore, they will first take upon themselves much guilt and error before they learn to accumulate knowledge and wisdom so as to recognize the truth. For all this to take place, however, and for the knowledge of truth to bring forth a rich harvest within the people, write down my teachings and my life story once again. In this way, my teachings will always be available for later generations to bear fruit to the truth. Remain with me from now on, follow me, and faithfully carry out your duty as my transcriber of my teachings, namely the teachings of the laws of nature, which are the original laws of creation. Never will there be a will greater than the will of creation, which reveals itself through these laws. But the laws of creation have been valid for yesterday and today, and therefore for tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and for all time, and hence a predetermination for things of the future that must happen.
Ellie. Mama, עזבת אותי.